Okay, everyone, it's 2 o'clock, so we're going to get started. We've got a lot to cover today. First of all, I'm very excited to welcome you and to once again be hosting the Spring Festival Forum. It's been a very long 2 years, so having South by Southwest return in person this year is a sign that things are starting to return to normal. I'm Mandy Thomas with the Downtown Austin Alliance. The Downtown Alliance is a nonprofit organization that's responsible for creating, preserving, and enhancing the value and vitality of downtown Austin. In addition to direct services, we advocate for and invest in downtown, creating signature activations that bring Austin's public spaces to life. We work in partnership with key downtown stakeholders, property owners, residents, businesses, community organizations, and governmental entities to advance the collective vision for the future of downtown Austin. Today, you will hear from some of those stakeholders, representatives from South by Southwest, the City of Austin, Cap Metro, and the Austin Police Department about what to expect in the next few weeks downtown. We have activated the Q&A option. You can find that at the bottom right-hand side of your Zoom screen. If you have any questions that aren't addressed by the speakers during the presentation, feel free to drop those questions in the box and someone from the panel will respond. If time permits in the end, we will take a few questions for a live Q&A. Now, without further delay, I would like to welcome and introduce our first panelist, Brandon Fahey.
Hey, welcome everybody to the 2022 Spring Festival Forum. My name is Brandon Fahey, and I'm the Operations Manager with the Downtown Austin Alliance. The Downtown Ambassadors are the cornerstone of our direct services program. The team of nearly 50 people hit the streets daily to remove litter and graffiti, pressure wash sidewalks, and provide safety escorts, greet visitors, and connect with businesses. During the Spring Festival season, those services are amplified, making sure visitors to downtown Austin feel safe and secure. Our ambassadors also partner closely with city agencies to paint trash cans, plant new plants along Congress Avenue, mow medians, etc. So that is our ambassador program for this segment of South by Southwest preparation. Next, I'm going to hand it off to Christian Mella, Director of Government Affairs with South by Southwest. Christian, go ahead.
Thank you, Brandon. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to run through the street closures as well as a quick overview of South by Southwest. I'll start off by saying the dates are Friday, the 11th of March, extending through Sunday, the 20th of March. Right off the bat, on Friday the 11th, we have the film festival as well as the interactive conference starting. So for film festival, we have 8 movie theaters. And for the interactive conference, we have 12 hotels, which include the Austin Convention Center, as well as the Palmer Events Center. And for Music Fest, which actually starts on Monday, the 14th of March, we have 73 venues right now. That could change by a few venues, give or take. We're still contracting if, in the next 2.5 weeks. So that could change, but we're gonna remain in the 70s this year. And that's a big difference from years past. We've had about 100 Music Fest venues in years past. And then we also have Comedy Fest, which is for the full duration of South by Southwest. Mainly those comedy shows are scheduled up front, but they do extend through the 19th, which is that last Saturday. And this year, we only have 3 Comedy Fest venues. If I could ask for the next slide to come up, please. So this is the overview of all Spring Festival season, including South by Southwest and APD safety closures. I know it's an eye chart, so you can check that you still have 2020 for those lucky few of us, but I'm not going to torture you with this. We're going to extend on to the next slide, and I'm going to only present the bigger street closures. If we could go back one slide, please, to 6th Street area. There we go. Thank you. So this is going to be the busiest slide that I'm presenting today. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this one, and the others will go by quicker. But right off the bat, many people are already asking what's going on with 6th Street. And then along with 6th Street, we have Red River. So if you can see here, the numbers 27 are aligned on 6th Street as well as Red River from 5th Street to 7th Street. These closures in blue are APD safety closures, and they're going to be a little different this year. They're going to be later. The closures actually start at 2 p.m. In years past, recent South by Southwest, APD has closed these at 12 noon. So we are giving more time this year for downtown deliveries for all those bars and restaurants to get their food and drink in before the street closures take place at 2 p.m. Now, the latest they'll reopen every day is 6 a.m. But I understand that APD will more than likely open these up well before 6 a.m. It just depends on how crowded the streets are. So from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. at the latest daily, 6th Street from Brazos to I-35 Frontage Road, as well as Red River from 5th to 7th Street will be closed. After that, I want to go up to the number 2, which you'll see on Brazos and that west end of 6th Street. And so that's the 100 block of East 6th Street from Brazos to Congress Ave, and the 5 to 600 block of Brazos from East 5th to East 7th. These are going to follow suit with the aforementioned street closures of 6th and Red River that I just told you guys about, where APD is going to be closing at 2 p.m. potentially every day, and then reopening at 6 a.m. potentially every day. These street closures are as needed per APD, so they could change a little bit depending on how busy these areas get. But they are listed here at 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. for the duration of South by Southwest, Friday 3/11 through Sunday 3/20. Also, number 28, those are the 500 blocks of San Jacinto, Trinity, and Neches in red. If they're in red, they're a South by Southwest permitted by the City of Austin street closure for various South by Southwest uses. So these 3 blocks in the 500 block from 5th Street to 7th, again, Neches, Trinity, and San Jacinto, they'll all be closed for sponsor street closer activations starting at 3 a.m. on Friday, March 11th. So these are the earliest street closures that we have because the sponsors need to load in, and we want to do that at 3 in the morning when it's not too congested during the downtown commute for everybody to get to work. So at 3 a.m. on Friday, March 11th, these barricades will go up. There'll be 24-hour closures, reopening at 8 a.m. on Sunday, March 20th. Let's go to Sabine now, which is located in red to the east for number 26. Number 26 is both the 500 and 600 block of Sabine, extending from 5th to 7th Street. And those are 24-hour street closures for South by Southwest sponsor activations, as well as South by staff feeding. And those start at 3 a.m. as well for sponsor load in on Friday, March 11th, extending through 8 a.m. Sunday, March 20th. All right, just to the west, number 23, you'll see in red are the 600 blocks of Neches, Trinity, and San Jacinto. So these extend from 6th Street to 7th Street. And South by Southwest needs these blocks for Music Fest production. We have a lot of backline and lighting that needs to be loaded and unloaded in these blocks for the various venues in the area. But as a result of this being heavily concentrated for Music Fest, these 600 blocks don't close, with one exception, which I'll get to in a minute. But generally speaking, the 600 blocks of Neches, Trinity, and San Jacinto don't close until Tuesday, March 15th, starting at 8 a.m. There'll be 24-hour closures. They reopen on Sunday, March 20th at 8 a.m. And you might be asking me why they're closing on Tuesday instead of Monday, if Music Fest starts on Monday. Music Fest does indeed start on Monday, March 14th, but it's only 12 to 15 venues. On Tuesday, March 15th, we bump up to 40 something venues. So because it gets a little bit busier starting on Tuesday, that's when we close the 600 blocks of Neches, Trinity, and San Jacinto. And then Wednesday through the wee hours of Sunday morning regarding Music Fest, we're going to have that 73 venues approximately that I talked about earlier. The one exception I wanted to note is number 24. You'll see it's actually the lower half of the 600 block of San Jacinto in blue, as it is an APD safety closure, mainly for their processing center and APD staging of vehicles. And that closure will be starting on Friday, March 11th, extending through Sunday, March 20th. And that's going to be a 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily closure, again, matching 6th Street, Red River, and Brazos. Again, this is up to APD. They may reopen it earlier than 6 a.m., but we have 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. listed on here because that would be the longest duration. All right, that covers the 6th Street area. If we can please move to the next slide, which is the Red River North area. Now on this map, I just want to make mention that Red River, which is number 20, again, an APD safety closure, from 7th Street to 10th Street, that's going to be matching what we just covered regarding 6th Street, Red River from 5th to 7th, and Brazos, where APD will close from 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily, 3/11 through 3/20. Next slide, please. This slide's a little bit busier, but again, we're only going to go over the top level stuff. We'll start with the 300 block of both 2nd and 3rd Street, extending from San Jacinto to Trinity. These two roads will be daily closures starting on Friday, March 11th at 8 a.m., extending to 8 p.m. And then as their daily closures, they're going to go all the way through Saturday, March 19th. So every day they'll close at 8 a.m. and then they'll reopen at 8 p.m. Friday the 11th through Saturday the 19th. Number 32 is Trinity, from Cesar Chavez to East 4th Street. Trinity is going to follow suit to 2nd and 3rd Street. It's a daily closure from Friday the 11th through Saturday the 19th, starting at 8 a.m. and then reopening at 8 p.m. daily for the duration of South by Southwest. The only other thing I want to mention on here that's kind of a bigger standout, if you will, is number 31. Number 31 is the block of Red River from East 4th Street to Cesar Chavez. This is an APD safety closure, but it is only the southbound lanes that are closing, not the northbound lanes. The northbound lanes will remain open, but the southbound travel lanes will close Friday, March 11th, extending through Sunday, March 20th, from 2:30 p.m. till 3:30 a.m. daily. So again, that's 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. daily, Friday, March 11th through Sunday the 20th, just the southbound lanes for Red River, 4th Street, Cesar Chavez. Please. This will be the Rainey area. The Rainey district has many less street closures this year, as you might already notice. Not a lot of blue on here this year. These, again, will be APD safety closures, though. And this year, they're only going to be closing Rainey Street itself from Driscoll to River Street and Davis, a half-block closure from the alley to Rainey Street. These are going to be daily closures, starting on Friday, March 11th, extending through Sunday, March 20th, 2:30 p.m. to 3 a.m. daily. We're getting close to the end here, folks. Next slide is going to be the Riverside Drive closure, which we do every year for our South by Southwest free concert series at the Shores. And this road closure has not changed. It's going to be starting on Monday of Music Fest, which is March 14th at 9 a.m. So South by Production can load into the park, and it's going to reopen at 6 p.m. on Sunday, March 20th, when we'll be completely loaded out of Vic Mathias shores. If you guys have any questions, please type them in. I believe we're going to be covering questions both now and later in this meeting, as well as if you would like me to email you this presentation of all of the street closures, you can email me at christian@sxsw.com. That's CHRISTIAN @sxsw.com. Next up is going to be my counterpart, Connor Tester, presenting on access for deliveries within the closures, as well as private parking spaces. Thank you.
Thanks, Christian. As he said, my name is Connor Tester with South by Southwest, and I am the venue and city liaison. I'd like to say thank you to the DAA for putting this together for everybody. And before we jump into my presentation, I wanted to touch on something that Christian was mentioning in his conversation, and it is in regards to all the commercial deliveries that will be able to occur downtown during Spring Festival season. We have eliminated the commercial delivery pass this year because all of the APD safety closures won't go into effect until much later than they used to during past events. That's 6th Street won't close until 2 p.m. Red River won't close until 2 p.m. and the Rainey Street area won't close until 2:30 p.m. So all of the commercial distributors will have a few more hours each day to be able to make those deliveries. Now, once those road closures go into place, there are alternatives for deliveries. In the Rainey Street area, both alleys to the east and west of Rainey Street proper will remain open, and commercial deliveries will have access to those areas to make whatever deliveries they need to the various venues and restaurants down Rainey. On Red River, all the cross streets, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th will remain open and can be used to make deliveries to the interior blocks of Red River itself. And in the 6th Street area, the south curb of 7th Street between Brazos and Sabine will be used as a loading zone that anybody and everybody can use, as well as the north curb of 5th Street between San Jacinto and Red River. Same thing there. Anybody and everybody can use those zones for all 10 days of South by Southwest. If you have any questions regarding commercial deliveries, feel free to reach out to me at connor@sxsw.com. All right, let's jump into the rest of the passes. Next slide, please. All right, this is the through access to private parking pass. This is what's going to allow you to get into barricades to access any private parking that is associated with your property. Next slide. This does not allow parking on the streets or within road closures themselves, but again, to any parking that is associated with your private property. So many residents in the downtown area use this pass, or any business that has parking associated with their private property. The majority of the 3,250 passes that we distribute in the downtown area mainly go to residents. You know, it's the big condominium complexes down on Rainey, or the Beverly on Red River Avenue lofts down in the 6th Street area. So for anybody that has private parking associated with their business or their residence, please reach out to me directly so I can get you sorted on your through access to private parking pass. Next slide, please. This is the artist parking and loading/unloading envelope. We use this for all of our official music festivals showcasing artists in order for them to load and unload in designated areas, as well as park in various bag meters that South by Southwest reserves in the downtown area. Next slide, please. You're going to start seeing a fair amount of these vehicles with this pass in and around the 6th Street area, Rainey, some on the east side. I know that doesn't necessarily apply to this group, but just so you're aware of our overall footprint, and in the warehouse district as well on the west side of downtown. And as Christian mentioned, our music festival starts on Monday, March the 14th, and that's whenever our official artist will start to use the various bag meter areas with this loading and unloading / parking pass. Next slide, please. To give you an idea of exactly how many bag meters we reserve for our official showcasing artists, this is the artist parking map that our artists also receive with the previous pass whenever they check in at the convention center. Not only do we reserve about 1,000 bag meters for various purposes as well as artist parking, we also contract with the state on surface lots and garages that are also available to the artist. These are pay lots and are at the artist's expense, but all of the bag meter areas that you see via the dotted lines on this map are free options. Next slide, please. This is our festival production vehicle pass. Next slide. This is used by official South by Southwest clients to load and unload at their venues. You know, we have a lot of clients that come into the various road closure areas that need to load in production to their various venues, whether it be tinting or staging or sound and lighting. So this is a pass that we use to give access to our official partners. It can be used to access road closures or bag meters. It is location and date specific. So whoever has this type of pass is restricted to a specific area at a specific date and will only have access to those locations on those dates. And I personally fill this out and give them to our official clients. Next slide, please. Oh. Next up, we have John Badcock, our festival operations and safety manager.
Thank you, Connor, and thank you everyone for attending today's DAA talk and the DAA for organising it. So my name is John Badcock, as Connor mentioned there, and I'm the Festival Operations and Safety Manager for South by Southwest. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the safety measures we have in place during South by Southwest in March. And as part of this, I'll just be talking about some of the resources we have available to support event operations, how we classify incidents and emergencies and recognise where we need support from 911 and public safety agencies, how we integrate with those public safety agencies to support first responders if problems occur, and finally a little bit about some additional security measures at venues. If you go to my one slide, please. So obviously safety is a top priority for South by Southwest. We work closely year round with the City of Austin and public safety agencies and consultants and other agencies to plan for a safe event and a smooth event. We're obviously eager for our events to run well, and we want to have a great experience for our attendees. And all of that comes from things running smoothly and there not being problems. But as part of that, we're also looking to minimise the impact our events cause on the City of Austin, especially public safety agencies. And to support this, we have many sort of layers of resources in place to help keep things running smoothly and respond if things go wrong. So we have production teams, stage managers across music venues. We have client teams out with our clients and some of the sponsors that you see around town. We have our sort of ground operations teams looking at things like traffic and parking and meters and some of the things that Christian and Connor have talked about there. We also have line management teams to help manage the lines for venues. We also have layers of sort of private security, again, working more around lines or maybe some sort of talent movements and artist movements and so on. And then we also have teams of APD officers who are contracted to South by Southwest to support where we need that sort of police presence, but where it's not a 911 call. And on the sort of festival side, Lieutenant Beck and Commander Disher kind of run some teams of up to sort of 16 or 20 officers at various times throughout the festival side, and Commander Adam on the conference side across some of our conference spaces, including the convention centre and the Hilton Hotel and JW and various properties like that. And then finally, another kind of key resource we have is we operate a communications centre, which is where all of the different resources that South by Southwest have available to support our events are coordinated from. Again, the aim of all this is to respond should something go wrong, and to manage what we kind of refer to as production incidents or operational incidents. So anything that isn't a 911 emergency that just keeps our events running smoothly and prevents that knock-on impact to on-duty public safety and the City of Austin. However, we do also recognise that more serious sort of situations can occur, which do need the support of on-duty 911 sort of first responders. Austin Police Department, Austin Fire Department, and Austin Travis County EMS have the skills and resources and expertise to resolve these situations when they occur, but we also want to support them, and we're obviously grateful for their help. So while they may take the lead in responding to those situations, we can provide backup and information and things where it's safe and appropriate and relevant and where they've asked for that. And a key part of us sort of facilitating that is via a liaison staff member we will have in the City of Austin Central Command. So if the City of Austin are having concerns around a South by event, they can relay it to South by very seamlessly via that staff member, and we can go and fix whatever that problem is without it putting a burden on the city, hopefully. But also if they're responding to a public safety emergency, and they need some resources or some support or information from us, we can help there where appropriate. And again, obviously, as I say, the aim for all of this is to keep our events running smoothly, respond to issues, and where relevant, support public safety. Finally, just a little bit on venue security measures, and this is something we've been doing increasingly before the pandemic, and something that you will see again. South by Southwest does have a weapons-free policy. We encourage people to travel light, leave bags at home or at their hotels. There will be bag checks, searching, wanding, all of those sort of security measures on entry to many events and venues. And it's worth recognizing that some events and venues may have stricter searches and prohibit certain items. And we encourage people to check with the individual venues on that. We do have a page on our website of further sort of general safety information. It's the sort of South by attendee safety page, which can be found at southbysouthwest.com/attendee-safety. So in summary, as I say, we want to work to have a safe event. We want to create a good experience for our attendees, limit the impact of this event coming in on top of the City of Austin and its businesses, and especially obviously public safety, and we're grateful for their support where it's needed. And as I say, we just want people to have a good time and be in a position to respond. Thank you very much. That's the end of my slide.
Thank you to Christian, Connor, and John, and the entire South by Southwest team. For those of you who joined late, I did want to let you know that we are recording this session, and we will share the link to the recording as well as the presentation in a follow-up email if you registered for this event. So, and at the end of this presentation, we will have a slide with everyone's email addresses so that you can capture that. Next up, we will be hearing from Lawrence Dieter, the Principal Planner for Short Range Planning with Cap Metro.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. As Mandy said, I am Principal Planner of Short Range Planning at Capital Metro. Just a really quick thing about what Capital Metro is doing this year during South by Southwest. It is going to be different than years past. Years past, we tended to add extra service to routes that had overcrowding on them, and run lots of extra late night service. This year, we will only be adding service to the rail schedule, and we will be adding that service basically the first Friday and Saturday of South by, the first weekend. It'll be on Friday and Saturday. Then there will be Sunday rail service. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we will go to operate service till about midnight. And then we will have later service until 2:30 on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. And then the second Sunday, there is no service. We've always traditionally done that. So that's the only place we're adding additional service. For late night bus service, we are going to be asking everyone to use our night owl system. Thank you, Mandy. Our night owl services run till 3 a.m. and they all leave from the exact same spot downtown, which is 6th and Congress, just a little bit west of Congress Avenue, right in front of the Chick-fil-A. Might be the easiest way to know it as a landmark. There are other stops in downtown, but that's the simplest one to really point out to everyone. We traditionally do run additional late night Metro Rapid service. That is not going to happen this year. Metro Rapid will be ending around 12:30 to 11:30 each day. With that, we also have our high frequency routes that serve downtown. It is worth noting that if people are familiar, back in January, we had back in September, we had to reduce our service due to labor shortages, and the Route 18, which used to be a frequent service, and I should define frequent service as routes that operate every 15 minutes for most of the day. Route 18 is no longer a frequent service, so that route coming downtown operates along MLK is no longer frequent. It's every 30 minutes. The important thing is you can get all this information at capmetro.org/South by Southwest SXSW. That page went live this morning. So if you have any questions, you should be able to get to that. I knew I was forgetting one quick thing. We will have a small detour on some of our routes operating on the east side of downtown. But the important thing is we actually don't miss any bus stops as part of this detour. So, while there will be one detour, and I guess that's a good thing compared to years past where we've had more detours. We won't have as many detours and we won't miss any stops. So it shouldn't be a big issue for our customers.
Thank you, Lawrence. Now we will stop sharing some slides for just a few minutes, and we will hear from a couple of key players at the Austin Center for Events. First, we have Bill Mano, the Special Events Program Manager.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, Bill Mano, Special Events Program Manager. Thank you, Mandy and DAA, for hosting this. It's been a while. 2019 was the last time that we had a full spring festival season. A lot of things have happened since that time. The Austin Center for Events, there's an administrative branch, but the team itself is composed of 13 different city departments that has either dedicated special event staff or staff that work on special events in addition to other duties. We have since moved from the city manager's office to development services department. And in 2019, mid-2019, we switched from using a SharePoint system for managing applications to our Amanda system. Now, DSD and its predecessor, Planning, Development, and Review, initiated that system with the city of Austin, have used it for years extensively, and so it's a good fit for managing the applications. Real quickly, when someone submits an event application, there's a series of questions. How those questions are answered will determine which departments get a review for that application. In 2019, again, the last full year, we had about 220 special event applications for Spring Festival. That's a lot, and that stretched the capabilities of the staff that we had at that time. It was a challenge. We get through it. This year, we only have about 105 applications, so a little bit less than half. So I think apparently there's a lot of companies that are still a little hesitant to commit resources to events, and we're still coming out of the pandemic. But we are very excited to see Austin special event industry coming back, and hopefully will continue to do so. Now past South by Southwest and Spring Festival, and even to the years to come. Another big change from 2019, even though we have fewer applications this year to process, we still have other challenges because in 2019 we had one high capacity venue in the city, and that was CODA. Now we have Q2 Stadium and the Moody Amphitheater, both really nice venues. If you haven't been out there, you need to go see them. They don't require special event permits for their concerts or their soccer matches, what they do permanently. However, they do require a significant amount of city staff and resources at those events. So we track those events through the Amanda system as well, with ACE, the administrative branch of ACE, coordinating all that. And then the various public safety departments and transportation also have a role in all of those. So that has added significantly to what we have to do and what we have to look at. So, the 105 applications, it would be nice to have more, but it'll grow. We'll get there. We're confident of that. This year and currently, we still are requiring a health and safety plan for applications submitted. If it's an indoor event with 1,000 plus or an outdoor event with 2,500 plus, there are requirements. And those requirements are on our webpage, austintexas.gov/ACE, ACE. For events lower than that, Austin Public Health will review those and give recommendations on how to ensure the chances of spreading COVID are reduced. That's the key. And I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to talk about. Another thing that is always of critical importance is the site plan safety and fire safety at events. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Battalion Chief Quentin Pryor with AFD.
Good afternoon. My name is Quentin Pryor. I'm the Battalion Chief with AFD and work in special events. What I want to focus on, first of all, can everybody hear me? Sorry, I don't have video. Good. Okay, good deal. First of all, what I want to do is talk about what is really in our definition of what we do, prevention. So we're trying to prevent things from happening, prevent fires, prevent fatalities, prevent accidents, things like that. And so, of course, we base most of what we do on what the International Fire Code has to offer. So with that, through the process that Bill was just explaining, coming into the Amanda system, we have a review process. So we have inspectors that are assigned to review each and every one of these events. Site plans are involved in that. And with those site plans, we look at several things. I'm not going to go into everything, but I will start off with one of the most important areas or aspects that we look at, especially for South by or any venue that normally occupies lots of people, is we make sure that the load that they have, the capacity that they have, we have enforcement teams out there throughout the event that look at that, make sure we're not getting overcrowded. Because overcrowded is one of the things that can cause one of the biggest severe safety issues that we have out there. Some of the major losses of life in the country over the years have been due to overcrowding in venues with hundreds to thousands of people being there. So one of the things that we want to do is make sure that the message is always sent out that we'll be out taking a look at those things. So we do it through a couple of things. We have teams of night inspectors that go out to all the venues throughout the night. We also have teams called PACE teams, which involve fire, APD, and code enforcement. So that was put together several years ago. So whenever you come across something at one of these venues, the proper folks, the proper authorities can be there at that time and handle that. So the way the PACE team normally works also is, when you get a complaint about something, it can come in through the 311 system. We'll investigate those. Sometimes one of our inspectors may see something at a venue and need somebody to back them up to come over to help out with that. Also, it's important for the folks that are in this meeting. If you see anything out there that looks unsafe, get that information to us in the central command post, and we can take care of sending somebody out to look at that. Something that we had this year that's we're putting together to enhance the safety of South by. Have a partnership with the Special Operations Division from the Austin Fire Department. We're going to be placing some folks out on the ground. I'm going to call it boots on the ground. That will be doing some monitoring for gas. They'll be monitoring things like hazards like, excuse me, any kind of biologicals, any kind of radiological, anything like that. So they have really good fine-tuned instruments for that. Something that's new this year too, our inspectors that are out on the ground that normally would be out will have monitors on them. So these are going to be a little pocket side held monitors that they'll be able to wear. And if there's anything that shows up on that, we'll be able to investigate that. Especially after having a tabletop the other day, and the subject matter that we went into kind of really lended itself to that. Having folks on the ground is something we haven't done before, but it's something we're doing at some of the major venues, one of those being COVID. The last 3 major events, we've had the Special Operations Group out there, and they've got teams in place. They also have the ability to call up what's called 6CST. It's the Texas Army Reserve. It's a free service. Basically, they use these events to train. They'll be out there helping do this, so we'll be able to put more boots on the ground. So I think that's a very good method that we're going to go through to enhance the safety overall for this event. So the other thing is 3 categories: South by Southwest sponsored events, the Spring Festival events that have permits, and then there's the non-permanent events. So one of the things we're interested in this year, with there only being 105 applications as compared to 2019, is seeing if there's going to be an increase in the non-permitted events. So what we're going to do is track those numbers, and I'll get those numbers back to you, Mandy, and anybody else that needs those after South by. So we can kind of see how COVID and the interaction between getting permitted events versus non-permitted, how that's going to work out. So suspecting there might be a few more non-permitted events this year, but we treat them all the same. We go under the International Fire Code to make sure that we have safe events going on out there. That's all I've got, unless anybody has questions for me.
Thank you, Chief Pryor and Bill. We are ahead of schedule today, which is rare. So any attendees, if you do have questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. It's on the bottom right-hand corner, and we should have time to answer some questions at the end of this session. We are going to round out the forum today with information from the Austin Police Department and the Downtown Area Command. So now I would like to welcome Chief Chacon.
Thank you so much, Mandy. And I'm going to kind of echo some of the comments that Bill Mano made, that I am really happy to see that events are coming back up, that we're coming out of COVID, at least to the, to some degree. Some venues are opening up at limited capacities, while others are certainly back in full force. And just to see people coming back together and having a good time and keeping everyone safe is very, very, I'm very happy that we're doing that. Certainly, the Austin Police Department has been well-versed on ensuring a safe and enjoyable environment in the downtown area around events like South by, as well as just the normal events that happen there on a week-to-week basis, and making sure that we're keeping everyone safe. I will be speaking in the coming week or so on efforts that will be concerted efforts to look at making sure that as the South by Southwest and Spring Festival event proceeds, that we are keeping people safe in those venues, that we are taking illegally owned weapons off of the street, and we will be pushing very strong public education and enforcement information on the topic of human trafficking. So it's going to be, that's going to be one of the efforts that we want to highlight in the coming days. But for today, I think what is going to be important is, what does APD's footprint look like for the Spring Festival? So for that, the Downtown Area Commander, Commander Eric Fitzgerald, is on, and I will turn it over to him. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, I was a little bit tardy here, just leaving another meeting. But I'm happy to go over the Downtown Area Command footprint that we'll have for the Spring Festivals here. I sent over a slide deck if we want to go ahead and put that up. Perfect. So we'll start out with the first slide. Go on to the next one. Okay, so just a few general facts about South by Southwest. Obviously, I'm sure it's already been discussed at length that it's taking place on March 11th through the 20th. 2019, we saw approximately 417,000 people come through Austin with all the different various events that were happening. Here in 2022, 57 plus venues we have that are authorized South by Southwest activations. And I put a bullet here on the unauthorized activations and how they're difficult to track and control. And the reason why I did that is we see some unofficial events that pop up, and it makes it difficult from a security standpoint because we see large groups of people going to an unauthorized or unofficial. We don't know. We're unable to track when those are happening. So just kind of a little tidbit on the information that can present challenges for us as a police department. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So a little bit about our downtown area command staffing. For South by Southwest, we'll staff all of our shifts during the daytime at 100% plus 5. In the downtown area command, we have a total of 10 shifts, 2 day shifts, 6 evening shifts, and 2 night shifts. Obviously, the daytime events of South by Southwest, we staff those up 100% plus 5. And for evening and nights, we go 100% plus 2. We designate different zones. That would be a patrol area inside the 6th Street enclosure. And what the enclosure is, we've talked about, or I'm sure it's been brought up, the street closures and how we use officers and barricades to kind of make that enclosure inside 6th Street. We have the outside 6th Street designated patrol area, which would be anything outside of that, and a specific district down in the Rainey Street corridor that we also have a patrol area that we patrol as well. We do have a DTAC call taker shift that comes in, and I'll go into that in another slide. But we hire additional staffing to come in and support kind of the influx of calls that come in due to the uptick in folks that are in town for South by. Go ahead to the next slide. So a little bit of the duties and responsibilities for the officers that are working. DTAC just stands for, like I said, the Downtown Area Command. They're going to provide your standard police operations. That's responding to calls for service, taking an enforcement action, things of that nature. Our street closures and barricade officers. I know it's probably been talked about. TCSO, our Travis County Sheriff's Office, have been brought in to kind of help us fill a lot of these positions. These are the secondary positions where officers and deputies are kind of manning those barricades, ensuring that traffic isn't getting through. We do bring in what's called a towing enforcement shift. That's when we have parking issues. Those shifts are able to take care of those specific challenges. Additional call taking shifts, and that's when we don't have officers that are strictly inside the 6th Street corridor. They're taking calls outside that, which may be on East 6th, east of 35. It can be on West 6th, and those different areas where we're being called to take police action. PACE teams and code enforcement. Fairly self-explanatory. We're working with code compliance, City of Austin code compliance, and go around ensuring that all of the buildings and entities, they're all up to code. A traffic congestion shift, as we see different events and kind of movement from the crowds or traffic, we're able to kind of get ahead of those and deal with those issues as they come up. And sound enforcement, where we have 2 officers per day going out with sound meters and making those enforcements as needed. This next slide just talks about the team effort from the department standpoint. In addition to officers that are assigned to the Downtown Area Command, we do pull in officers and resources from all over the department. I'll talk a little bit about these different entities. The Counter Assault Strike Team, basically these are on-duty resources that we can deploy anytime there's an active shooter or anything of that nature. And so these are paramount to have kind of on standby or already on duty because they can respond in a matter of minutes. Our mounted unit, which is something that we use every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to kind of help with the crowds, clear streets, things of that nature. Our EOD, or our bomb squad, conducting sweeps. They generally are utilized at major events all throughout the year, from UT football games to marathons, just sweeping the streets, different things that they may get called to, suspicious packages, things of that nature. Our special response team, our crowd management, they're going to supplement a lot of the shifts that we're talking about here, just to give us more officers and kind of help with that crowd control component should it be needed. Our organized crime division will be out doing some operations and initiatives. This is paramount, as in, anytime there's a large event where we're generating the kinds of crowds that we're talking about, from the Super Bowl to South by Southwest, we see things like human trafficking. So that's where our organized crime division, they're going to come in and conduct some of those operations, focusing on that kind of activity. Our Metro tactical units, again, more officers that we can utilize and kind of deploy as needed. A unified command. This is just kind of referencing the fact that we've chosen a unified command or a central command where all of these entities are in a one command post, and we're able to talk to each other and communicate in real time as things are happening. So if various incidents, whether it's fire or EMS or police, all of those things we can kind of coordinate, and it helps to be in the same room and be able to communicate directly with each other as these things are unfolding. And those are just the different things that we see. Everything from South by Southwest representatives will be in there, PD, fire, EMS, HESM, our Homeland Security and Emergency Management, transportation, which is vital as we see different buildups. They're able to kind of communicate with the police department, and we can allocate resources as needed. Same thing with code enforcement. As we see problems pop up, they're able to communicate, and we can get formulate a response to that pretty quickly. Public Information Office and our Regional Intelligence Center, both things are pretty self-explanatory as why they'd be needed in there. 911 versus 311. This is something that I thought would be a good thing to cover. I know there are a lot of questions about this lately as we've kind of transitioned, but these are the main things on when and why someone should call 911. Basically, when there's a threat to an imminent threat to life or property, something that requires immediate medical attention, an injury stemming from an assault, regardless of the time frame, if we need to come out and investigate and collect evidence, that kind of thing. And when a suspect who's involved in the crime is still on scene or within sight. But the most important part about this slide is it shouldn't be on you to determine whether or not you should call 911 or 311. If there's any question at all, call 911 and let a trained operator make that decision for you. And the last slide that I'll go over, and of course this is important in any large scale event where we're going to have large crowds. If you see something, say something. This is a Department of Homeland Security program that we participate in here at the local level. Public safety and security is everyone's responsibility. If you see suspicious activity, report it to law enforcement or a person of authority. This is super important because as police officers, we do our best to be familiar with the areas that we respond to and that we patrol. But the most familiar people are the people that are out there that live in that neighborhood or work at that building. They're the people that are the most familiar with it, and they're going to know when something isn't right. And so that's why we ask, obviously, if you see something, say something, whether it's the police, fire, EMS, whoever it is, get that information to us, and we'll do the best that we can with that information. But that's all I had. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Commander, it looks like we do have one question for you that came through. How often has the special response team been used in the past during the Spring Festival season?
Right. So the special response team, although they have the crowd management skills and capabilities, the reason why they're used is more of supplementing staffing and kind of giving us more numbers. So they're not necessarily there in that crowd control capacity as they are there in the capacity to kind of give us the staffing numbers that we need to make sure that public safety is there.
Perfect. Thank you. I am not seeing any more questions in the chat or in Q&A. So I will say once again, thank you to South by Southwest, Capital Metro, Austin Center for Events, Austin Fire Department, Chief Chacon, and Commander Fitzgerald for joining us today, taking the time to speak to the downtown community and stakeholders about what we can all expect in the coming weeks. It truly takes a village, and if we've learned anything over the past few years, it's that we're all in this together. For those of you who are attending, I will be sharing the presentation from today along with the link for the recording and email addresses that you're seeing on the screen now. Feel free if you want to grab a quick screenshot. Otherwise, I will be sending that presentation and this information out. On behalf of the Downtown Austin Alliance, I want to extend a very special thank you for joining us in this conversation today. The stakeholders, you guys are at the heart of everything that we do. Please do not hesitate to call or email with any questions. And with that, that concludes today's Spring Festival Forum.